All right, Chelsea fans, we got a lot to break down. Justice for Trevoh, maybe a new goalkeeper. Caleb Wiley, American signing, and who is traveling to the U.S. of A. All right, Chelsea fans, so a lot happening over the weekend. Needless to say, the first place we have to start is all this shuffling about the U.S. roster and who's going. Most importantly, who is not going. So as of right now, as it stands, the big name off the roster would be Trevoh Chalobah. According to Fabrizio, Chelsea told him to stay home and not travel for preseason. Apparently, they feel that the squad is heavy with Wesley Fofana, Axel Disasi, Tosin Adarabioyo in his position. You're not wrong, but you're not going to take him, right? Like they're clearly pushing him out, right? And so the justice for Trevoh needs to be going on Chelsea Twitter, right? Like the amount that he's done for the club, and he was available for the back half of the season, right back, right center back. Like just Trevoh's always done whatever's been needed of him ever since he came on and made his debut a couple seasons ago, scored that long range shot. It's hard not to root for a guy like this. But I mean, we knew this was coming. The club, FFP, right? It's makes sense financially to them, which is an absolute shame that they're not even going to take him. It's a shame they're not even going to give him a chance to bed with the squad. I mean, you have a full-fledged professional. You've got someone who can make a positive impact to the squad, but they've made their decision. Obviously, Adarabioyo came in this summer. He was always going to go. Wesley Fofana was, again, the $70 million signing a few seasons ago. He was always going to get a chance to go. So really, it comes down to Disasi versus Chalobah. And again, Disasi had a sign-on fee, right? He just joined last season. He did decent in his first season. Also played right back. Also played right center back. Definitely saw some positives. Definitely saw some negatives. So to me, this was a toss-up between those two players, and they're choosing Disasi over Trevoh, a player who you signed versus a player who you developed. Player with a sign-on fee, homegrown player. So this is, again, more of a financial decision more than anything is the way I'm reading it, and it's a bummer. Now, on the plus side, that does mean that Akipong does get to go, right? So Tyreek George, Akipong getting to go with the team, which, you could say is the positive, right? The silver lining in that sense. So we'll see how many minutes Josh Akipong even gets. Probably not many, obviously, but that's where we're starting. So justice for Trevoh. We're huge fans of him at the pod. Homegrown, Kaba made. He's done everything he can. He looks like he works so hard, and I just think he wants nothing more than to be at the club. You have to remember his brother, Nathaniel Chalobah, close to making it as well. Ended up not still professional in the championship in lower leagues as well. But man, Trevoh, not a lot he did wrong in my eyes. You tell me if you disagree. The other news about someone who will be going to the United States, or I guess not, but from the United States, I should say, Chelsea signing left back Caleb Wiley, U.S. born 2004, joining from $8.5 million from Atlanta United. So this will now be the second summer in a row that Chelsea's gone to the MLS of all places to sign a player. Like goalkeeper, I get it. Like America has always been known for goalkeepers. And even in the MLS, being a strong shot stopper like Petrovic, we obviously tried to pick up Gaga Slanina. We did. It hasn't worked out quite yet. He's 18 when we got him, young, a lot of developing. To grab an outfield player out of the MLS is really interesting. And is he a left back? I mean, is he really? He's very attacking. Is within Maresca's system. How is this going to fit? I'm not sure, but I don't get paid to make these decisions. But it has been said that there's a good chance he could join Strasbourg on loan in the next weeks, which would make sense why he did not join the club for preseason. He's got a contract through 2030. Very interesting from my perspective. Now, look, we've talked about left back for a long time, right? A lot of people seem to think, including Matt Law, that Chilwell may not be the best fit under Maresca's system. Cucurella actually is a great fit coming off of great Euros. What do they do in terms of depth there? We'll have to see. But he's not going on preseason, but he was acquired, so we'll have to see how it all plays out. Another one is Malang Sarr is finally leaving Chelsea as a free agent. The club terminated his contract. He's to be joining RC Lens. So again, not a huge move. It's just more of like good for the player. He wasted an entire season last season at Chelsea, or not at Chelsea, as an unregistered player. So at a minimum, this is what the club should have done, especially if they couldn't find a solution for him. Left-footed center back, like, hey, go on and have yourself a career, Malang. Appreciate you. He won some trophies along the way, the Club World Cup, got to be involved in some matches, but overall, definitely not the key player that I don't think anyone thought he was going to be. So happy for him, good for him, but we continue to move on. So as we continue to talk about squad building and roster, Fabrizio with the exclusive saying that Chelsea made an initial approach for Villarreal's Philipp Jorgensen as a potential new goalkeeper. Apparently, talks started on the player side with the Swedish goalkeeper keen on the move. It's still early stages. He's one of 4 names under consideration. So what this means is that clearly Chelsea are in the market for a goalkeeper. So I listened to the Matt Law update with Dan. Rob Sanchez, number 1. Petrovic, one for the future. Apparently not even one for now. Look, we did keep so loan. And I thought that'd be harsh on Jorge to move him out so quickly. But it sounds like Maresca, and look, Petrovic has a bit of a knock right now, so he's not even going to the U.S. right away. He's going to join later. But this kind of surprises me a little bit. So, I didn't know Philipp Jorgensen, the Swedish goalkeeper. He's 22 years old. He did play, 36 of 36 matches last season for Villarreal. 8th place, conceded 63. They had a break-even goal difference. So, take that for what it is in La Liga. He was giving up a ton of goals, right? Like almost 2 per match, 1.75. He had a save percentage of 72%, which just means he was getting pelted and making a ton of saves. So, look, a bit of a quick rise for him. So last season, even 2 seasons ago now, he was in their B side, right? And like the youth team, the U21 side. Had 2 appearances last season, but became their starter. Again, I'm not sure how this all came about, but I'm just kind of looking at the stats, and I'm at the McGlock app, looking at his stats. Really, really strong shot stopper. Outside of that, like, he's okay at crosses. Mistakes in possession, it's there. He's decent on the long ball. But he doesn't look like a sweeper keeper. And I thought that was the whole point of putting Rob Sanchez in and bringing and playing out of the back. They said they want a bold goalkeeper, right? They can make passes and stuff. So I don't really know where this goes, right? He's 6'3". He's not huge. He's got a good frame. So, this is kind of weird to me. They said he's one of 4 names. So we've got plenty of time to kind of figure out who the other ones are. But we'll have to see. Fabrizio with the exclusive there, pushing that one out. So more to come. I'm sure we're going to be linked with plenty more players as the summer continues to go. I'd love to hear what the other names are, since it sounds like Petrovic is, third string, but one for the future, aka probably not even involved in the first team this season, which is wild after he filled in for so long last season. So let's go ahead and take a look at the squad that is coming over to visit me in the United States of America. So to kick it off in the goalkeepers, you got Robert Sanchez, Marcus Bettinelli. Love a Betts appearance. Eddie Beach, super young. Lucas Bergstrom, super young and even tall. right? He's the one that just towers over everybody in those videos. So again, they're waiting for Petrovic to come back or a third goalkeeper because you're not going to go into the season with 3 out of those 4 names. Defenders, obviously Captain Reece James, Malo Gusto, Josh Akimpong, who we talked about, Wesley Fofana, Axel Disasi, Tosin Adarabioyo, Benoit Badiashile, Levi Colwill, Ben Chilwell, and new signing, Renato Viega. Again, I think we're good at left back, right? Caleb Wiley, looking at loan and a different option with Renato coming in. Midfielders, Chukwuemeka, Romeo Lavia, Leslie Ogochukwu, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, who apparently has a knock, which is not ideal, might not be going after all, and Andre Santos, which might also be going on loan. But those are who you have for midfielders. Again, is Chuck's really a midfielder? He's been playing more attacker, but I think when you hear how many forwards are going, it makes sense that you probably have a better chance to get minutes in the midfield. So forwards, you have Nico Jackson, Christopher Nkunku, Raheem Sterling, Mikhailo Mudryk, Noni Madueke, Armando Broya, Tyreek George, Mark Guyu, and Angelo. How many of those players are really getting minutes? I think this is where we get into a bit of, let's say, a pickle, right? So for the U.S. tour, you've got Chelsea versus Wrexham on the 24th of July. Then you've got Chelsea versus Celtic 3 days later on the 27th. You're going to go from California to Indiana. That's halfway across the country, a lot of miles. 4 days later on the 31st, you're playing in Atlanta. So now we're going from middle of the country to bottom corner. And then 3 days later, you're going back to where you came from, to Ohio State, and you're playing Manchester City. And 3 days later, you're Chelsea versus Real Madrid at Bank of America Stadium in North Carolina. So now you're going across the other half of the country. And then you go back, and we're playing Milan in London. So the one thing I will say is no shortage of minutes here, right? 5 matches, 90 minutes, a lot to have, but who is going to get it, right? Who's going to play the majority of the minutes? We've always seen a lot of players end up, I don't want to say being minutes wasted on them, right? But definitely minutes that don't translate to first team minutes in the regular season. Maresca is another new manager. We did this last season with Poch. He's going to have to assess these players in semi-competitive environments. He's going to have to make some quick decisions, who he wants, who he doesn't. There's way too many attackers for any serious minutes to come from them. Do you pull back on Nkunku because you need him for the season? Do you pull back on Raheem because you knew what it is? You know you've got. Is Broya really going to get minutes since it seems like he's going to leave? These are the things we have to figure out because we have a logjam in attackers and a logjam in defenders, right? You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 defenders that they have to choose from. And obviously Trevoh's not there. And on top of this, you have a lot of names that are missing, right? Connor and Cole, because they made it to the Euro final. Enzo, he made it to the final. Caicedo, the semifinal. Like, there's a lot of first team guaranteed names that aren't even here that you have to build in as well. So anyways, there is going to be a huge summer for Chelsea. But we say this the last 3 seasons, right? 4 even, Tuchel. Then, you try to bring in Potter. That didn't work. So you have a new manager with Poch. All right, we got to reshuffle the deck. And now you got Maresca. So we'll have to see how this shakes out, right? It's going to be one of those situations, a lot of minutes, a lot of miles, a lot of sponsorship activities, assuming we continue to sign sponsors. And it's going to be hot. It's going to be tiresome. And Maresca and his squad and his team of staff have a ton in front of them. So it's good to hear the early signs are that the players are receiving Enzo Maresca well, that they seem to enjoy his communication. The sessions are engaging, but at the end of the day, we can't get too wrapped up in preseason because we rolled preseason last summer, won a trophy, wink, wink, and we had an abysmal season. So, number one priority, no injuries. All right. Let me know who you think should be getting a lot of minutes this preseason in the comments. That's all I'm interested in, right? Who do you think will be our starting 11 by the time we get out of this? And which match are you most looking forward to? Personally, I definitely want to see us line up against Manchester City. They are the gold standard domestically and in Europe, and we play them the first match of the season. So anyways, that's it for us. Make sure you've subscribed. Make sure you've commented. All of those different things. And hey, go sign up for the podcast. Subscribe now. We got 5 pods a week. Until next time, Chelsea fans, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high.